The month of November is slowly drawing to a close. It's been chock full of data as well as political and geopolitical developments. So joining me now is Tim Anderson of TJM Investments, and he'll help us sift through everything that's happened this month. Tim, great to have you here.
It's great to talk to you.
Well, here we are in midweek, and we're awaiting the month of December. But so far, we've had plenty in terms of economic data, fundamentals, as well as politics. So sifting through everything, what do you think is the theme we need to continue to monitor?
It's certainly been a very full week, and we're not even it's not even halfway through Wednesday, because it's a fascinating market phenomena where the really super performing NASDAQ stocks, the FANG stocks as a lot of people would call them, and then a handful of others, Microsoft, NVIDIA, eBay, a couple of others, are down today. And the NASDAQ's down, but the Dow is up. We saw a little bit of this yesterday. It's like they're selling the stocks that have 50% plus gains and the highest performing stocks of the year, and they're buying almost everything else. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if the selling in those stocks that have really driven the NASDAQ this year, if they really take profits in those stocks in the next couple of weeks, if that's going to get the market to turn around and have a little mini correction from the rally we've had, before the end of the year.
And Tim, as you mentioned, we've been continuing to see record highs for the Dow, NASDAQ, as well as S&P 500.
And the Russell 2000.
And exactly.
Right,
but despite those gains, there have been some concerns about a possible correction or a black swan event as we head into 2018. So what do you think of that sentiment?
Well, I don't think you're going to get it before the end of the year. Okay, because we're just too close to the end of the year. It just doesn't work that way. You don't get big corrections in December, barring some monumental geopolitical event. I don't see the market taking a big hit in the first half of 2018. We could certainly have a correction of 3 to 5% that gets worked out somewhere in the first quarter, as we did a couple of years ago, but I just don't see the market taking a big hit.
And Tim, as we head into the month of December, we're going to start hearing the term Santa Claus rally. But the key events will be whether or not tax reform legislation gets passed, and of course the December rate hike, which is expected from the central bank. So what are you paying attention to as we head into December?
Everything you just said. I mean, the rate hike is pretty much baked in. I think it's going to be a quarter of a point. They're going to message it the right way. And then the unknown is tax reform. Maybe tax reform is 60-40 up from 50-50. Maybe it's a little bit higher than that. I just think that the political will is much stronger to get that done than it was to do something, than it was to do a repeal of Obamacare. And I think it's a much simpler issue to sell also.
And Tim, last but not least, I do want to ask you about cryptocurrencies very briefly. Now today, Bitcoin surged past 11,000, and that is quite surprising given where we started earlier this year. And it was interesting because earlier in the session, the Fed Reserve's Dudley said that the Fed Reserve is starting to think about it, but it is too early to think about an offering. So what do you expect to see in the new year?
First of all of the comments on what the market value is of Bitcoin are completely irrelevant and ridiculous. Second of all, it's a bubble, but it's over 10,000. It could go to 15,000. You just don't know where it's going to pop. It's a bubble, but the old saying is markets can keep going in an extended direction much longer than those people fighting it can stay liquid.
And indeed, Bitcoin and digital currencies are looking frothy at the moment, so we'll just have to see what happens. So thank you very much for your insight, and as always, thanks for your analysis, Tim.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.